If you're passionate about change and love a good laugh, then you need to join Chuck and Joe. Chuck and Joe are a dynamic husband and wife duo, tackling the biggest issues across the nation and around the globe. With a blend of wit and wisdom, they dive deep into current events, giving you the lowdown with a side of humor. They're not just talking heads, they're your fellow freedom fighters, committed to sparking meaningful conversations. From politics to social justice, no topic is off limits. So hit that subscribe button and join the freedom fighter community today. Let's laugh, learn, and fight for a better world together. Welcome to the Freedom Fighters podcast, where serious meets funny, just like Chuck and Joe.
Hi, this is
Chuck
and Joe and the Freedom Fighters podcast. Today I want to talk to you about autism and Elon Musk and a mom's perspective of forgiveness. I'm sure that everyone has seen the stuff that's going on around Elon. I'd like to share with you some feelings that I have on his actions and hope that America can listen to this, maybe have a short laugh, maybe a tear, and maybe find forgiveness in your heart for the things that Elon is displaying. No, I am not his mother, but I am a mother of an autistic child. Autism, what is it? It's the question we've been asking since the 80s, maybe even a little before. What do you actually know about it? How do some autistic children seem different, and some seem more advanced than others? Look at Elon Musk, right? One of the richest, smartest men in the world, yet he is struck with this disease. How can he act like he does? I hear this on podcast after podcast. I see this on the TV. It's sad because these children know that they're different. They know. Make no mistake, they know. Well, I'm here as a mom of an autistic child. I want to give you, America, and my freedom fighters, the knowledge of a man with a child with a very high-functioning autism. My answer to help you understand Elon, autism, and a man that seems immature. I've heard him called a frat brat. I disagree. So join me, please, on this short ride, my journey with this disease, my understanding of this man, my child, and with what's going on with his fight with President Trump, as seen through my eyes. Please forgive him for his recent outbreaks. I'd like to start that at the beginning. His opinions are different sometimes, I know. He sees black and white only. I'm going to start back with you on why I feel that I have a knowledge to speak on this. My son was 5 years old when he was first diagnosed with autism. At birth, I noticed no difference. The only thing I did notice is that when he was swinging in the swing, I used to have one of those old swings where you had to crank it. You know, some of you moms remember those. Tired of it. After my fourth child, he was the last one. I was hoping they'd eventually get an electric one. Well, they ended up with ones with batteries, but I never got to experience that. Where I'm going with this is, though, you had to crank these about every 15 minutes to watch your child swing. I went in one day. I didn't hear it clicking from the kitchen as I was doing dishes. He wasn't very old, maybe not even a year at this time. And I thought, well, he's fallen asleep. I'm going to check on him. I walked in, and he was rocking that swing back and forth like he was on his way to the moon. And that thing had not been wound for over an hour. It didn't even occur to me when I first had gone in, and I hadn't turned it to set off his flight. But sure enough, that was one of the first signs that I can look back and remember a sign of autism. As he turned 3 and went into preschool, I heard from teachers that he was so hyperactive in school. I didn't know the difference. At this point, I was a young mother in my mid-20s. I had 3 girls and now a son. And actually, let me change that back. I was about 30 when I had Damon. I was in my mid-20s having my children. But at this point, I knew nothing about autism, nothing about mental health. None of my other children had displayed anything except maybe some hyperactivity from my second daughter. At that point, they were pushing ADHD and ADD, and I wanted nothing to do with it. However, by the time Damon had grown and we were entering kindergarten, he'd become Superman, Batman, anybody that he could be that was a superhero, jumping off of things, trying to fly through the air, not realizing he's going to break a leg or, an arm. Hard to watch him more closely because he had the guts of a man in combat. I look back now and think that was probably the second biggest sign that something was wrong. On and during kindergarten, his kindergarten teacher was a queen, but she did keep approaching me. Please take him down to Riley Children's Hospital, she said, or take him to a psychologist here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We live in Indiana, by the way. Go IU. Anyway, I was against that. and I was against any kind of medication. My son was my son, and he was perfect. I didn't see anything wrong, nothing on the outside. How could anything be wrong with my child? No. His sisters were fine. I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. By the time he entered first grade, we had problems. Damon wasn't socializing as he should have. He'd go in and try to talk to other children, and instead of getting in on easy conversations, he would bust in like he was Superman or Batman again and just take over the world in the conversation. I didn't find it odd. He was my only boy. I knew my brothers were, what I would term active when they were young, and it just seemed to me that he was just being a boy and being my son. But it was very bothersome to other boys, other girls, teachers, other mothers, and I couldn't see it, nor did I want to. By the time second grade hit, they made me take him to a psychologist. So in second grade, we spent the year flipping psychologist to psychologist in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and finding no real answers. As a matter of fact, it was everything from mood disorder to hyperactivity disorder to attention deficit order, to a disciplinary disorder. And I was so frustrated. How could anybody know what was wrong if there weren't even the same diagnosis? Why was I being pressured by the school to put my son on medication that I didn't want him on? Or better yet, why was I pushed from doctor to doctor because no one had an answer? It was difficult for me. Most of all, it was difficult for my son. I saw him getting angrier and angrier as school went. Things hurt his ears. When the alarms would go off, he had his own fluffy things to put on his ears to walk down the hall. His second grade teacher thought they were so cute, and she brought him in, and they had bunny ears. The boys didn't think that was very cool. The girls laughed. Damon was embarrassed. But he'd rather wear those ears than to hear the noise of the alarm go off. I knew at that point I had to find someone quickly to help me diagnose him so that I could continue to educate him through school as I worked hard with all my children to get him through school. All of them very bright and smart. So what I did was I called Riley's Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, Indiana. Like I said, we live in Indiana. Riley was known around the world for many things, including mental health. We finally got an appointment, waited almost 4 months to get in. In the meantime, we're going through all the stressors of life and all the things I've just mentioned. We're both extremely tired of doctors, tired of hearing things that we didn't want to hear. Damon was tired of going through testing. He was a child. He didn't want to sit and talk to a doctor. It's hard for him to sit, period. And by now, he had developed rocking. He rocked all the time. Remember, I told you about the swing. Well, that's something that has stayed with him up until now. As we went into Riley Children's Hospital, they told us to go to the Christian Sarkine Autism Unit. Might I add, one of the best units in the entire nation. They helped my son. 6 hours we spent there that day, and many hours afterwards, many months. They taught my son everything they could teach him, told me what his diagnosis was, and taught me how to teach my child. The sad thing was, I had a school system in our hometown that knew nothing, and I mean nothing about autism. Fortunately, why my son was at Riley, we had been able to go into some other school systems in Indianapolis, actually more in Carmel, Indiana. I got to experience the way that teachers did things down in Westfield, Indiana. Very great group of teachers. They were constantly taught about autism and had gone to many teachers' meetings at Riley to learn about this new disease that was now popping up over the whole entire USA. So at this point, I felt comfortable in knowing the diagnosis, but sad in knowing the school system knew nothing, and I was going to have to teach them because they obviously weren't helping, and they were still saying that he was having more or less disciplinary issues, and that's not what it was. So we continued to teach them what I learned at Riley about discipline, and then we taught them about touch math and many other things. They actually started listening. Some of the teachers started going down to India and they started learning more about autism. And the things that we shared with them were pioneer ages for our school system. Damon was so proud the day he graduated from middle school. The teacher that had been his teacher all through school gave him a diploma that he was going out of special education into regular education for high school. She said that was the program and that was the way it was supposed to work. And Damon was the only and most important child that she'd ever had in her classroom. She said it wasn't that he was her favorite in that way, but he was her favorite that he taught her about autism. He taught her about loving a child that's a little different and how smart he actually was when you learned how to teach him. Through high school, we had many ups and downs. Some kids were mean, some kids were great. But at the end, the whole town knew Damien. And to this day, he's got friends everywhere. He doesn't like to go out still. He's a very, very much a homebody. Damon gets very upset very easy sometimes. Another experience that children with autism go through frequently. They don't know how to handle their feelings, so they blurt out. They say things that they don't mean. They have to get things out right away after a fight. They have to, let it all out. And then they could think about it. They usually get really close to one parent or one person or one guardian, and they're close to other people, but not as close to them. They don't usually give hugs or kisses. They're not real affectionate, but they do love, and they love deeply. Damon goes on to have more difficulties with socialization. We've tried him working. He does well at first, but when he gets upset, of course, employers don't understand the frustration outbreaks. There are 3 parts to autism as I knew it and as I know it. I hear they're changing, but there's regular autism on the scale, as they call it. Then there's Asperger's, which is very high functioning autistic children. And then there's PDD, which is persuasive developmental disorder. Again, persuasive developmental disorder. That means Damon is on the edge of the spectrum. He has normal traits as well as autistic traits, which is exactly what Elon has. When Elon bursted out, everyone, it was because he could no longer take what was inside him. Wasn't that he wanted to be mean to President Trump? He obviously adores him. He's very close to his father, and his father told him, you need to calm down a little bit. People don't understand that he just has stuff in there that eats him, and he has to get it out. And once he's gotten it out, he's okay. But if he doesn't get it out, he's not. These children can shut down. They can become severely angry, do things that will hurt other people or hurt themselves. Please understand that Elon's lashing out was not from hatred. It was from understanding what he understood that no one else did. He wanted to mean something, not like President Trump thinks. He just felt important in a different way this time, in a way of helping the whole nation. And Elon cares deeply about this nation. I'm torn sometimes between President Trump and Elon. I don't know which one I like better. I love them both, and I think as a team that they are great for America. I love all of America. I don't care if you're Republican, if you're Democrat, if you're black, you're white, you're a Jew, you're a Christian. It's okay. I don't care. I love everyone. And I wish America would learn that our secret is to love each other, to understand each other, just as the autistic children are very misunderstood. Robert Kennedy, who is fixing the food and the health in America, has it right. We need to learn about autism. We need to learn about mental health. And we need to learn to understand people with those diseases and not just understand them when it's convenient for us. Elon made a mistake. He spoke out wrong. What he was saying was right, but he spoke out and said some things that he shouldn't have, in anger. And again, I ask you, President Trump, if you ever hear me, please understand as a mother that Elon likes you. He likes you a lot. In fact, he admires you. I see it. Please don't turn your back on him. Please. I ask that you talk to him because it's important to him as an autistic child. You don't understand what the other side could be like. This is just my perspective, everyone, and mine only. I mean nothing to Elon. I mean nothing to President Trump other than a voter. But I just want you to know that I understand Elon, and I hope that what I've shared with you today will help you too to understand. This is only my second podcast. It may not be perfect, but I ask that you please press that like and subscribe button for me. Write me a comment. Tell me if you like this. Tell me your problems with autism and what you've experienced. Tell me if you feel the same or different. I'm welcome to all comments. I've worked very hard, and I want you to understand that my son is important to me. America is important to me. And Elon Musk is important to me. Most of all, children with autism are important to me. So that's my spiel. This is
Chuck
and Joe and the Freedom Fighters signing off. Stay safe, America, and keep that smile on your face. We'll see you next time.